Sometimes I hear feeling in touch with fear. Freedom we hold dear now is at stake. Your heart to God, safe from the chastening rod. Seek the way pilgrims trod, Christians away. My Jesus is coming soon, morning or night or noon. Many will be.
Thanks for joining us. It's going to be a good show today because we are blessed to have Don Aaron here today. Don,
how are you, my friend?
Thanks for coming.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
You're a very special person. I'm always proud to be seen in public with you. That makes my stock go up.
Well, same here. Same here.
You are spokesman for Metro Police Department.
Yes, sir.
And you do such a good job.
Thank you.
And I was sitting here a while ago, and it hit me. You're a big Titans fan.
Always have been.
And I was making myself a cheat sheet here, and I was saying the day that I really just admired you so much was the day that Steve McNair was killed, and you handled that with all the national media. And I was sitting here, Don, making my cheat notes, and happened you knew him, and that had to be difficult. Well,
we knew each other to see each other. We always spoke, and I think one of the last times that I really had an interaction with him, I'd walked into the arena downtown, and he was going to an event, the same event, and we saw each other, and my daughter was with me, and she was probably 8 or 9 years old at the time, and he went down on his knee, spoke to her, shook her hand, just very gracious. He loved kids.
He did that everywhere, people tell me. I never met the man.
Yeah.
But he would have loved our ministry. He would have loved our children, and I just never did take advantage of the opportunity to go meet him, I guess.
You know, NFL Films has just done a documentary, a 1-hour documentary about his life. And I actually screened that documentary this morning. It is outstanding. I mean, if you didn't know Steve McNair, if you didn't know about his upbringing in Mississippi, through his college years coming into the NFL, this kind of clues you in. It involves interviews with his mother, his brothers, Coach Fisher, Eddie George. There's a number of people in this documentary, and it's not about his death, it's about his life.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the way life needs to be.
And I think it's an important message that needed to be told. This documentary needed to be made, and it is very well done.
My children need to see it, don't they?
They do.
Our children need heroes like Don Aaron, Steve McNair, people that make things happen.
Well, this documentary actually has a clip of him talking to a group of kids about life's choices, making the right decisions, that the decisions are in their control. Yeah, I mean, he was very good at that.
I had somebody was telling me, and I don't remember who it was, that they had a couple of NFL quarterbacks here for a nonprofit, and they were doing a fundraiser, and they had those quarterbacks here, and other guys, they would not make pictures with children and so forth, and they had McNair one year. And they said he was down having his picture made with every child, letting them come, and he'd get down on his knee and have his picture made with them, went way overboard. He was out reaching out to the people. And the quarterbacks that did not participate wouldn't let the children have the pictures made with them and so forth. I just lost so much respect for them and gained so much for Mr. McNair because he did such a good, and he played football with such courage. And that's my kids need heroes. My kids need to know how important it is that you can achieve a goal if you will invest to achieve a goal. Nothing comes easy. You have to get out there and work at it.
Well, the circumstances of his death certainly made headlines for quite a few days, but the circumstances of his death should not overshadow his life. And he had a outstanding life story. And this documentary takes you through that. There's certainly a segment about the death and what happened, and it had to be dealt with in the documentary. But much of it is about his life and how he rose from Mississippi to the NFL, and again, it was very well done.
We appreciate you, and as a city, we appreciate you on behalf of all the citizens of Nashville and how well you represent our police department. You told me one time, get as much information out as accurate as you can when you first get it, to keep people from speculating, and that's really been beneficial to me. That's really helped me. When I grow up, I'm going to be like you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to work on that. What does Nashville need to know about Metro Police that we don't know about Metro Police? What would you like for us to know?
Well, through mid-October, I can tell you that the major crime in the city is down about 7%. And when I speak about major crime, I'm talking about the major 7 offenses, the major 7 crime categories. Those are murder, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, larceny, and auto theft. When you combine all those together, we're showing about a 7% decline from the same time last year.
That's a good thing.
It is.
Now, the population is much increased, I guess, over last year. I would think so.
Well, I think Nashville's population increases every year, unlike many of the nation's major cities. You know, Nashville is a major city in the United States.
Good place to live. People coming here.
Yes.
Opportunities are here. I've had people tell me about some of the other cities they've traveled to, and businesses are boarded up, boarded up, boarded up. You don't see that here. We see opportunities here, and then that's words around. I had a friend of mine that was living in Montgomery, and he left Montgomery and moved to Nashville because he said he'd get a job here. He couldn't get a job in Montgomery, but he could get a job here.
Well, speaking of that, getting a job, I would be remiss if I didn't say the Metro Police Department is hiring every day. We continue to look for good, qualified police officer candidates. We're always taking applications, and we always have a recruit class, it seems, in session. We have one in right now that will graduate in November. We have another class that will be beginning at the 1st of 2013. Persons who want to choose law enforcement as their career option or career choice can come to the Nashville Police Department, submit an application, and you will be very carefully and thoroughly considered. Unlike other major cities in the United States that are going through layoffs and have had to dismiss officers due to budget constraints and other scenarios, the Nashville Police Department, with the support of Mayor Dean, continues to hire and remain fully staffed. In fact, some of the officers we've hired in recent classes have been some of those who were laid off in states such as New Jersey and other cities in the Northeast.
Excuse me, they are. I was in court the other day. Boy, there's a bunch of young folks up there. I'm getting older and older and older, and they look younger and younger and younger. But that was 20 or 30 people there, it looked me like, that was in there to testify in court, and all of them was just, looked like it'd be my children. They were younger and younger, and I thought, man, they are really doing a good job of keeping new blood coming into the police department. And it's good to have that. And you're at full force right now, aren't you?
We are. We are. We're authorized for 1,373 officers. We have 7 precincts, and I think that the Nashville Police Force will ultimately grow as the city grows. We have an 8th precinct that's scheduled to come online in early 2014. That's the Midtown Hills precinct that will be built at 12th Avenue and Wade in the Edge Hill area, but it's called Midtown Hills because it will be servicing not only Edge Hill, but Green Hills, Forest Hills, Oak Hill, and also the campuses of 3 universities, Vanderbilt, David Lipscomb, and Belmont.
The precinct idea, I know you got some heat about that when they started implementing that, but that's worked out well for you, hasn't it?
It has. It gives the precinct commander and the staff at each precinct real ownership of what goes on in that area. Mike Alexander, for example, at the South Precinct is responsible for 73 square miles. At the moment, his territory runs from I-24, essentially, well, actually Murfreesboro Road, all the way over to Franklin Road. So he has a big swath, a 73-mile area that he and his officers, detectives, supervisors are responsible for. And if something happens in South Nashville, the community knows that they can go to Mike Alexander or his people and get answers, or if they need enforcement assistance, they can receive that enforcement assistance and don't have to go downtown to Chief Anderson and ask for it.
I love that. I love that strategy.
Mike Alexander is, in fact, the chief of police for South Nashville. Chief Anderson has vested in Mike the decision-making authority that if something is going on at Murfreesboro and Bell Roads that needs assistance, Mike can dedicate the resources and make something happen. The people needing assistance don't have to run downtown or to a council person and ask for it. They can go directly to Mike.
And he doesn't have to go downtown and see the chief and ask permission. He's got
full
vested authority, and that works all over town. So it's the old principle of divide and conquer.
Exactly.
And I know back years ago I was talking to Surpass, and he said, give authority to people and give them support and let them take on the initiative to make the decision making. And with that, and don't be afraid to ask why you did what you did. But accountability is not given away, but you do give away responsibility of making it happen. And it all comes back to the chief's desk, but he's not micromanaging what's going on out there.
And our 7 precinct commanders really are very, very good at what they do. They're not put into a commander's position willy-nilly. I mean, they are carefully chosen and put into these commanders' roles. And all 7 of them are just outstanding individuals who are, I think, really have the respect of the leadership of their each of their 7 communities.
I asked one of the detectives the other day, are you going to ever be a commander? And his comment was, I don't want to be a commander. I want to stay on the street. I like what I do. And I thought, man, that's good. When you have people on your team that enjoy the job they do. And this detective has said, I won't be a detective. I like being out on the street. I like doing what I'm doing. And I thought that was important.
Well, you know, Chief Anderson tells the story of going to an East Precinct roll call, and he's talking about the issues of the day, and he sees some of the officers start looking at their watches like, this guy needs to be quiet. I need to go to work. I want to get on the street. And that's what kind of officers we have right now.
Another thing that you do so well that I'm real pleased with is your resource officers in the schools. Because I work with youth, and building that trust between our youth and our police officers, I think, is so very important.
A lot of the information that we receive about potential criminal activity, gang activity, that type of thing going on in the community actually comes through the school resource officers. They hear about it at school. A student will come to them and say, hey, I hear this is going on, or this may happen on Saturday night. And we develop a lot of good information and are able to intervene and interdict crime based on those school resource officers being where they are. You know, we have at least 1 police officer in every public middle school, and most of the high schools have 2 police officers in them.
I've been told before, I don't know what the figure is, but just how many officers that's involved in that, but it's a large number.
About 70.
But then when you take the population of the schools, you've got the police officers where the population is, because I don't know how many students go to school in Metro, but there's a big number. And so you need, my experience has been in our ministry, when I'm going to have a crowd more than 300, that is an outreach crowd where I just go out and bring in everybody. When I get above 300, I'm going to have a police officer present, because I need it there for just security purpose, because you never can tell what's going to happen, particularly when you're bringing in people from different gangs and so forth. And if you have a police officer there, you don't have problems. People just quieten down.
Well, and these school resource officers are specially trained. They want to be in the school setting. They have specialized education in gang issues, in drug issues, and they have a special knack of interacting with kids. And they have developed the trust of these young people, and these young people actually come to them. I know one particular officer who's at one of the major Nashville high schools who's probably been there for 15 years. And the brothers and sisters who have since graduated of current students have told their siblings about this particular officer. He can be trusted. He's a good guy.
And I know that I have officers at the Inner City Church, and you've heard me say this 100 times, but I'll have kids walk by me that used to come to me to tell me about their problem, but they'll walk by me and they'll go to the officers to discuss a problem. They need help with something, and they'll go to the officers, and they've done more for Metro Police in improving that relationship with the children that come to inner city, because they really have the trust of those police officers, and they'll go to them and talk about personal stuff, and they give them good counsel. And I just really enjoy that relationship, because, you know, as y'all always say, and as Chief Anderson says, police work is a community project, and we all are involved in it, and we need to be able to. Is there anything that you can think of that, you know, there's a mindset that's out there that I really want to war against, is when parents teach their children not to trust police officers. What would you like to say to parents to help them to see the error of that way? That way is destructive. That is not good for. One of the notes I put down here, why do people dwell on the negative so much? Why do we as Americans, why do we as Nashvillians spend so much time dwelling on the negative when there's so much positive around us?
Well, I think to some extent what you see on television dwells on negative, but that's not necessarily what you would see day to day on the street. You know, when I go to certain crime scenes, and you need to go with me one day, and you'll see firsthand how the majority, 90% of the people, want to talk with you. They want to understand what's happened. They don't like what's happened as far as criminal activity any more than we do, and they really want to help us find a solution. But unfortunately, most of the people that we would speak with on a scene, on a major scene like maybe a homicide, are folks who are middle-aged. I don't really see that same type of openness on the street with young people.
And in that the influence of gangs and lack of trust, that the kids are been told they can't trust the police officers. Somebody's telling them they can't trust the police officers, because my kids understand they can trust the police officers.
I think it all goes back to the upbringing.
Breakdown in the home.
There was a breakdown in the home at a very early age, and there was not someone there nurturing the young person all along. You know, there are some fantastic, many fantastic single mothers. There are many fantastic single fathers. But if you could wave a magic wand or snap your fingers, I know that you and I too would want to bring families together into these cohesive units. It takes a village to raise a child, and you'd like that village to start with a strong family unit: mom, dad, grandmother, grandfather, aunt, uncle.
Family structure.
Yeah.
Mothers, one of your children misbehave, let's don't tell them, I'm going to call the police on you, I'm going to turn you over to the police. Let's don't make the police the bad people. Let's take care of disciplining our own children, and let's try to build trust with the police department, because ultimately the police department are our protection. They're the ones that they're there for us, and we want the police department to protect us. So let's make sure. One of the funniest things that happened to me is one of my families was going along, and they got a bunch of kids, and there's in the car going along, and they got stopped. And the officer walked up beside the car. The wife was driving, and the little kid looks over, and the father's sitting in the passenger seat. And the little kid looks over, and the officer says, "My daddy hates cops." And I just thought, yeah. And he was telling me about it. He said, "Man, I like to die there." But the child had heard him say something. And they just thought, the innocence of a child just said, "Hey, my daddy hates cops." And they're saying that police officer, wrong time, wrong place. Makes you guard what you say when you're around children.
Well, I'm sure the father had some type of experience with the police in the past.
Negative experience.
Perhaps he was
like he'd been arrested several times.
And
yes.
that goes back to the young people. You know, I was talking about going into neighborhoods at a major crime scene. I was in a major crime scene just a few months ago, and it was a very bad situation. It was a scene of violence. And this particular home had been targeted, specifically targeted for a reason. So as I was leaving the scene, I wanted the neighbors to know, and just great people on this particular street. And this is what I find most often. And I'm going door to door telling them that this house was specifically targeted. You don't need to be worried. This is not some random guy going around in this neighborhood. We pretty much know what's happened and who may be responsible. And the folks are really appreciative of that, but at the same time they're saying to me, "Well, I knew there was something going on with this person who lived in that house. We've kind of known that. I'm not surprised to hear you say that." And then we talk about the family breakdown. I mean, this particular home had a family breakdown, and the neighbors knew it. Other folks knew it, but perhaps the family itself had a blind eye and didn't come in to try to intervene.
That's where churches need to get out of the church building and get out in the community and love the unlovable, and be good to the people that are not, don't return, but be good to people and start trying to build that trust and start to break through. I'm just a big advocate that churches need to get out of the church buildings. They got to get out in the community, and they got to make an impact, because we got kids killing kids in this city. And if you've got a single mother and she's got 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, and they may have 1 or 2 daddies, she loves her children, but she doesn't have all the parent who does have enough parenting skills to take care of 6 children by themselves. So churches need to be, that's a resource that needs to be involved and be out in the community and adopt those families and put their arms around them and spend money on those families and help those families and build that trust in that relationship. I've had my young people that I talk to about their careers, and they'll say, you know, I was thinking about being a police officer. Why do you want to be a police officer? And it's, I want to help people. And that's a healthy interpretation of what police officers do. They see that position as a position to help people and not be trying to control people or be Marshall Dillon. They're trying to help people. That's good.
Well, and we're so grateful for the partnership from the clergy the police department enjoys.
You do those gun buybacks through churches, don't you? It's where you have your gun buybacks?
Every gun buyback we've done so far has been at a church. We had one last December at Greater Faith Missionary Baptist Church in Bordeaux.
That's where my granddaughter met Chief Anderson, and he made a lifelong friend out of her. She thinks he hung a moon. Keep going.
We had the one last June at a church there in
Frank Stevens.
Frank Stevenson's church
Napier,
in the J.C. Napier
yeah.
homes.
Yeah.
And we'll have a gun buyback the Saturday before Thanksgiving at a Baptist church, Tusculum Hills Baptist on Nolensville Pike.
Now, that's Mike Alexander's community out there.
It is.
Now, I've been to those gun buybacks. Nobody asked any questions.
Well, and we said all along, no questions asked. And perhaps at the first one, we got 90 guns in the first one, but perhaps folks were skeptical about the no questions asked. Well, they saw that it worked. In the one in June over near the J.C. Napier area, we took 156 guns.
Had 90 at the first and 156.
90, 156. And again, no questions asked. And this one in November, right before Thanksgiving, Dollar General stores will sponsor it. And persons who have a firearm, they need to get rid of. If a mother knows that her son has a firearm,
now,
has access to a firearm.
Say that again. I don't. This is important.
If a mother, a grandmother, a family member knows that their child has access to a gun, and they want to get rid of that gun out of the home before something bad happens, they can bring it to Tusculum Hills Baptist Church between 8 a.m. and noon on November 17th, the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and they're going to get a gift card or a voucher from Dollar General stores for a Thanksgiving meal.
Well, that's a good deal.
Many Dollar General stores are markets now that carry meats, produce, canned goods. Dollar General is going to set the gun donor up with a wonderful Thanksgiving meal.
See, Dollar General has always put their stores in the communities that we serve, and I've always appreciated them for that. They bring the merchandise because people can get on an island real quick in the poorer part of town, and I appreciate them taking the lead on this. It'll be successful.
Well, and you talk about enhancing the family unit. How better to enhance the family unit than providing someone who may not have a lot of means with a delicious Thanksgiving dinner, all the trimmings, because a gun was surrendered. The gun being surrendered makes the family unit safer, the Thanksgiving dinner, the community safer, and the Thanksgiving dinner helps the family become more cohesive.
That's good. And this is done by our police department. Folks, I want y'all to get the picture here. And we ain't got 4 minutes to go, Don, but I want to say something. Mama, if your kids have got a gun, if you've got a middle schooler or a teenager, and you know they got a piece in the house, grab that thing, take it away from that young'un, and bring it over here. There'll be no questions asked. Your kid does not need a gun. I've lost 3 air conditioners at our office here in downtown Nashville on the Dickerson Road area to gunfire. And of all these killings, a lot of them among young people, committing crime on young people. Is that right? Out of the murders we got in Nashville this year? Of the murders in Nashville this year, more than half of the victims have been under the age of 30. Mamas, you get that? Nine of the victims were between the ages of 16 and 20. 9 of them. 9 victims between the ages of 16 and 20. Mama, we got to take, and Daddy, you've had these babies. You may not be responsible for them or around with them, maybe or may not be paying child support, but you brought them in the world, and it's your responsibility, and God's going to hold you accountable. You need to go get that young'un and let him know you're his daddy, and that kind of behavior is not acceptable. Our community does not have to live that way.
And you're here to help, we're here to help, but we individually can't do it by ourselves.
That's right.
The community, the family, it's all a community effort. We can't do it by ourselves.
Our playgrounds need to be safe places where children can go and play and have fun. And I say all the time, every boy and girl in Nashville needs a safe place to lay down and go to sleep at night and feel comfortable and feel safe. And y'all are trying your best. I mean, you've got a police department here that's second to none, and you're making our city a safe place. We got about 2 minutes to go, Don. Say something to the people. If I covered anything, is there anything else I need to cover here? Your crime is down. Police department's hiring more people.
Well, you know, crime is down except for this aggravated assault issue. An aggravated assault, that's essentially a person being seriously injured by gunfire, by some type of weapon. Aggravated assault is up 12% this year. A lot of that aggravated assault stuff involves retaliation, or, gee, I heard that Lytle did this to Johnny, and I'm going to go back and get Lytle, when Lytle may not have had anything to do with it, but still, you have this retaliation type stuff.
And family stuff. This family attacking that family.
And you have gunfire, or between rival factions.
Right.
And the gunfire, you may be, we hear all the time, geez, this person was shot in the foot, or this person was shot in the leg. Well, that is an aggravated assault. That's being committed by a person who has a gun that they should not have. These are not persons who have handgun carry permits. These are persons who have gotten a gun off the street. It's either come out of a burglary or some type of theft. And these are the type of guns that we can get off the streets and make this community safer in these gun buyback programs, the next of which, again, is the morning of November 17th.
We got to go. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate all you do. Tell the chief I said hello. Folks, this is our city, and it's our responsibility to make our city a safe place. And we got a good police department. They're doing their job. We as residents need to get involved, and we've got a family on our block in our community that is suffering, and we think that that is a place of problem, potential problem. Get on the telephone, call your local commander, and get that information out there to them. And when you do, they'll follow up on it, and they'll help you get that problem situation fixed in that community. They're on our side, and they work with us, and they work for us, and they are us. And so let's make our city a better place to live. Don, thanks for coming by. You're such a good person.
Thank you, Lytle.
Appreciate it.
Freedom we all hold dear, now is at stake. Humble your heart to God, save from the chastening rod. Seek the way pilgrims trod, Christians away. My Jesus is coming soon, morning or night or noon. Many will meet their doom. Trumpets will sound, and all of the dead shall rise. Righteous me in the skies. I'm going where no one dies, heavenward bound. What troubles will soon be, or happy forevermore. When we meet on that shore, free from all care, rising up in the skies, sailing this world goodbye.